During the Viking Age, Scandinavians faced some of the harshest winters on Earth, where survival depended on knowledge, preparation, and relentless adaptation. As temperatures dropped, families built turf-covered houses that blended with the Arctic landscape, designed to capture heat and resist storms. Low entrances forced cold air downward, while warm air stayed near the hearth, turning architecture into a tool for survival. Earth walls provided natural insulation, storing warmth long after fires burned low, transforming soil into shelter. Inside, fireplaces burned constantly, supplying heat not only to the living space, but also to food, water, and clothing. Wood was scarce, so even small branches and driftwood were collected to ensure enough fuel for the longest nights. Clothing was layered with wool and fur, trapping heat close to the body and providing protection against freezing wind. Food was prepared months in advance, dried or smoked to last, through periods when hunting became nearly impossible. Storms arrived suddenly, turning the coast into a dangerous frontier where visibility dropped and wind became life-threatening. Yet each challenge revealed the resourcefulness of these northern settlers who engineered solutions to survive where few could live. During long winters, food had to be preserved months in advance, using drying, smoking, and salting methods that protected families when the sea froze and fresh fishing was almost impossible. Whale and seal fat provided not only nutrition, but also fuel for lamps, turning the sea into a source of heat and light that extended deep into winter nights. Turf walls, wooden frames, and thick layers of earth acted as insulation, storing heat inside the home and allowing families to rest, even as snowstorms raged outside. Inside these homes, community life continued, repairing tools, maintaining clothing, and teaching younger generations how to face the winter ahead. During severe storms, entire families stayed indoors, relying on stored food, steady fire, and the protective design of their winter home. Survival depended not only on warmth, but on knowledge, understanding how to prepare the land, the sea, and every material available long before winter arrived. By building low, using earth, and living close to the ground, heat could be preserved naturally without wasting precious fuel. Inside the home, warm air gathered near the hearth, while cold air settled closer to entrances, creating natural circulation that kept living spaces comfortable even during deep winter. During the darkest months, when daylight lasted only a short time, the interior of the turf house became the center of warmth, work, and communal life. Everything relied on preparation. Without planning, gathering, and working together, winter would have been far more than a challenge. It would have been impossible to survive. As the Arctic winds grew stronger, Vikings reinforced entrances with thick layers of snow, turning the cold itself into a protective wall against storms. The coastline provided driftwood, essential for fuel, shelter, and tools, collected carefully before the sea froze entirely. Inside, fires were kept small to conserve fuel, producing gentle, long-lasting heat that spread gradually through the earthen walls. Warm layers of wool and fur trapped body heat, turning clothing itself into a vital part of the survival system. Ice was sometimes melted indoors to provide fresh water when streams and rivers were unreachable through snow. Storms could last days, limiting movement outside and forcing families to remain indoors, relying entirely on preparation. During low daylight, the interior became a workshop, a kitchen, and a living space, all in one, efficient, warm, and protected from the cold. In the darkness, oil lamps provided steady illumination, carefully tended to ensure fuel lasted through the longest nights. Clothing, tools, and food stores were checked repeatedly. Small mistakes could mean danger when temperatures dropped further. Even in the harshest winds, the combined protection of earth, knowledge, and community allowed these northern settlers not just to survive, but to live. Night temperatures in the Arctic could fall dramatically, forcing every material in the home to work together to retain heat against the frozen wind. Inside, warmth was preserved through layered bedding made from animal skins, insulated by dried grasses and furs. Families often slept close together, using shared body heat to survive the coldest nights of the year. Tools made from bone and wood were maintained continuously because winter was not a season of rest, but of preparation for the next storm. Even food that seemed ready was inspected repeatedly, as moisture or improper drying could threaten supplies for the entire settlement. From late autumn to early spring, the Arctic coastline transformed into an entirely different environment, covered by shifting ice and unpredictable weather. Fishing became limited to short windows of safer weather, and each opportunity was approached with caution. If storms approached suddenly, returning home became a race against wind, visibility, and freezing temperatures. When visibility dropped, the low shape of turf houses and familiar paths helped guide travelers safely home. Survival in the North depended on understanding not just the environment, but the behavior of every material, every season, and every challenge ahead. The Arctic environment rewarded those who observed its patterns and punished those who ignored them. Even the warmth of fire depended on careful planning, collecting wood steadily during rare moments of calm weather. Food preservation determined how well families could endure the months when hunting became impossible. Inside, tasks were shared: teaching, repairing, preparing. Each action strengthening the community against the cold outside. These homes were not merely shelters. They were engineered systems using earth itself as insulation. Even in stillness, life continued with purpose. Quiet work maintaining the delicate balance between survival and vulnerability. Storing heat, conserving resources, and protecting each other turned winter into a collective achievement rather than a threat. As storms returned, homes became islands of warmth in a landscape shaped entirely by cold. Each night brought new challenges, but every sunrise proved that preparation, community, and knowledge could overcome the deepest cold. Across the centuries, these Arctic settlements remind us that survival in the North was not based on strength alone, but on understanding the land, the sea, and each other.